Inspired thinker. I am fired up today and probably don't have my thoughts as organized as I would like to before sharing a video. So let's see what unfolds here as I share my enthusiasm for a new podcast called Culture by Design, and it's hosted by Timothy Clark. And what got me so excited and really clicked for me is Timothy Clark's work on psychological safety and how he just ties it right back to one of my favorite concepts, one of my favorite things to teach and talk about, which is vulnerability. And in Timothy's work, he just simplifies vulnerability and the definition of vulnerability and invites us to really think about it as any human interaction. When humans are interacting, vulnerability exists. Simple. And normalizes it. So he goes on to talk about how workplaces are inherently vulnerable because it's all about human beings interacting around the work. And in the culture context, he goes on to talk about if inclusion and innovation are the standards for the culture that we want to create, then we need to reward vulnerability. We need to reward vulnerability if we want to see inclusion and innovation within the organization. So if your organization wants to set a standard around inclusion, if you want to shake things up, come up with new ideas, do the work differently, you need to normalize vulnerability. So how do we do that? So if vulnerability is small moments like asking for help or admitting to a mistake or that's a good example, setting a boundary, saying no. Whew, those are vulnerable acts. And as you see people, team members, colleagues, maybe your director, taking these steps and actions and communicating vulnerability, how will you receive those? How will you respond to those acts of vulnerability? If someone comes to you and admits that they made a mistake or something went out that was inaccurate and they're taking responsibility and bringing it to you, oh, that is a vulnerable moment for them. So how are you responding? Are you responding with compassionate curiosity, or are you responding with judgment or blame as a way to self-protect? And so those moments where we are receiving or experiencing vulnerability with another human being, how are you responding? So I'm going to encourage, this is my new favorite way to think about curiosity, is compassionate curiosity. So can you be compassionate and curious about what happened so that you can learn from the scenario, you can learn what contributed to the mistakes, what happened, how you can provide support, what the learning was. That's going to, hopefully prevent the mistake from happening again. Or do you have a fight or flight response, a panic, a need to defend yourself or protect yourself from this mistake, and how that might affect your reputation? Are you responding from that place? And you can kind of imagine what the behavior and communication looks like from that place. So rewarding vulnerability when we experience it with another human being, that is the behavior, that's those small moments over and over again in an organization that are going to create a healthy culture where inclusion and innovation can thrive. So I just wanted to share this with you. I'm actually going to share a link to the podcast that I listened to this weekend that really got me fired up about this. And for me, it just connects, what we've already been teaching and talking about through our Courageous Coaching program, really teaching leaders how to respond with compassionate curiosity and how to navigate conversations to allow vulnerability to exist. And then Dare to Lead, we dive into vulnerability and we understand vulnerability, and we understand how to not self-protect, but put the armor down and bring our curiosity into conversations. So it was like, ding, 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 all these connections happened for me this weekend when I think about that desire for psychological safety, for psychologically safe cultures, and how that all fits together, and how vulnerability and our willingness to be in vulnerable interactions moment after moment, that's what actually creates a healthy culture. So I hope this serves you in a tactical way and gives you something to think about as you navigate the next human interaction at work or at home. Thank you, Inspired Leader, for listening. I've had a few people comment on the videos lately, which both freaks me out, and it leaves me with gratitude that something may be helpful from these videos. And honestly, it's just a really valuable way for me to stay accountable to my own learning and sharing it with you in real time. And I appreciate you for taking the time to watch and listen and learn with me. All right, take care. Have a great week. Reward vulnerability.